Welcome to the Manna at the Tap podcast, where we as a community seek the spiritual nourishment for our soul, nourishment our souls crave for. I'm Gloria, your fellow traveler on this spiritual journey. And my role here is to guide us, offering insights and interpretations from our daily lectionary readings that are providing the manna designed to nourish our spiritual growth. Today, this is the fifth week after Pentecost. It's Tuesday, June the 25th, 2024, and we are concluding the lectionary text of Acts chapter 17, verses 39 to 44, the story of the storm and shipwreck Paul and Luke experienced on their way to Rome. The story so far: Paul was under the guard of a centurion named Julius, who was escorting him to Rome so he could appear before the emperor. It was already late in the year to travel by ship, and Paul warned the owners not to attempt it because of the danger to the 276 passengers and crew and the loss of the vessel and cargo. But the owner wanted to get his grain to Rome quickly, so they proceeded. As they began their journey, a gentle southward wind blew, but before long, a hurricane force wind prevented the ship from heading into the wind. The passengers and crew's hearts were filled with fear, and as the storm raged, they gave up all hope of being rescued. After not eating for 14 days, Paul told everyone that they needed to eat to survive. He had received a message from the God he served, delivered by an angel, that no life would be lost, and only the ship and cargo would be destroyed. He urged them to eat some bread, and they ate till they were all satisfied, and then they lightened the ship of its cargo into the sea. Now to the lectionary text, beginning at verse 39, with these words, and I quote, "When daylight came," end of quote. After not seeing the sun or the stars for many days, after not seeing land, after being tossed and turned in the storm and on the sea, daylight came. And they saw land, even though they did not recognize it. They also saw a bay with a sandy beach, and the crew decided to run the ship aground if they could. Midnight can only last so long before the morning light will break through the darkness. However, the 276 passengers and crew are not yet safely off the ship. There was still much danger at hand. The ship struck a sandbar and ran aground. Then the bow would not move, and the stern was broken into pieces by the pounding of the surf. Chaos raged in the sea and on the ship as it fell apart. The soldiers guarding the prisoners wanted to kill them to prevent them from swimming away and escaping. Chaos and confusion reigned on board the vessel. But, yeah, that three-letter word is in the middle of the chaos. But Julius, the centurion, wanted to spare Paul's life to be sure he would make it to Rome, and he prevented the soldiers from carrying out their plan. Julius had great respect for Paul and how he had faith and hope in his God. Now, there had been another story that Luke recorded earlier In Acts chapter 16, when Paul and his partner at that time in ministry, Silas, were singing praises and worshiping God at midnight in prison. The other prisoners were listening to them. Suddenly, a cosmic action happened. A violent earthquake shook the very foundations of the building, causing all the doors to open and the chains to come loose from the prisoners. When the guard of the prison saw the disaster, he was about to commit suicide because he thought the prisoners had escaped. But but Paul told him not to harm himself because no one had tried to escape. He quickly filled the darkness with light, came and fell, trembling before Paul and Silas, asking them what he needed to do to be saved. This became the opportunity for Paul to lead this guard and his family to believe in God. Sometimes, in the darkest of nights, God will help us when our lives seem to be falling apart. Now to the last verses of the lectionary text. Those who could swim were to jump overboard first and get themselves to land. The rest were to get on planks or other pieces of the ship. In this way, everyone reached land safely. Each person had to let go the fear and jump into the water. Each person had to choose to swim or get a plank or a piece of the ship. Each person had to trust that God would be faithful and help them to reach land. The broken pieces of the boat helped the non-swimmers or those afraid to swim to have something to hold on to. Every person made it to the shore alive and well. Every person had to obey the call to hold on to what was at hand. And God Himself is our hope in the darkest hour of the night. He will guide us to safety and to the light. He gives hope to the hopeless, and He is our hope in the dark times of our lives.